Do you sometimes wake up feeling tired despite getting a full night's sleep? You might be getting enough sleep, but are you sleeping well? Are you getting sufficient deep, restorative sleep? If not, then fixing this might be what you need in order to wake up feeling refreshed. In this video, I'm going to tell you about one simple change I made to my evening routine that has given me the equivalent of 2 extra nights of high quality restorative sleep over the last month. And as it turns out, it's not that hard to do. In fact, it's going to take you less than 5 seconds a night. Now, I'm a little bit obsessed with optimizing my sleep, and I know a lot of you guys are too. There is definitely a shift towards prioritizing sleep these days, which is a significant change from the sleep when you're dead, hustle, hustle, hustle narrative of a few years ago. In fact, it kind of feels like getting your 8 hours a night is the sleep version of getting your 10,000 steps in. But a lot of the conversation is around getting enough sleep rather than improving the quality of your sleep. And when we do talk about improving sleep quality, it's mostly about avoiding things which make your sleep quality worse rather than things that can actually improve it. Alcohol is the obvious example, which, even though it might help you fall asleep, will significantly negatively affect your sleep quality. So how do you know if your sleep quality is even an issue? Well, you measure it. Measuring sleep quality has become quite sophisticated over recent years. I remember probably not that long after the first iPhone started coming out, I used to use an app called Sleep Cycle, which you would leave running on your phone overnight. Basically, you'd tuck the phone into the corner of your mattress and you'd go to sleep. And this app used the iPhone's accelerometer to measure how much you moved during the night. And when you woke up the next morning, it would basically say how good your sleep was based on that. Better than nothing, but only just. And then for ages, I used my old Polar sports watch to measure sleep. That basically used to tell me that I'd had a terrible night's sleep pretty much every single night. But the tech has moved on, and plenty of wearable devices will tell you not only how much sleep you're having, but how long you spend in the different phases of sleep. So my question to you is, are you able to track both the duration and the quality of your sleep? How do you do it? Let me know in the comments down below. Over the last 6 months, I've been using the Whoop Band, which is an advanced fitness tracker. And these are really popular within the sporting world, as the app gives you loads of data about your workouts, strain and recovery. And the sleep data is amazing. And we can break down sleep broadly into 2 different types: REM sleep and non-REM sleep. You've probably heard of REM sleep. We'll come on to REM sleep in a minute. Let's start with non-REM sleep, and this can be further divided into 3 sleep phases. Stages 1 and 2 of non-REM sleep can be grouped together into what we call light sleep. These are essentially bridges between being awake and being in deeper sleep. Stage 3 is where things start to get interesting. It's the first of 2 phases we're really interested in today. Stage 3 is the deep sleep phase, sometimes called slow wave sleep or delta wave sleep because of the way your brain looks on the monitors if you were in a sleep laboratory. It's a phase of intense rejuvenation, and getting enough of it is really important for how refreshed you feel in the mornings. During deep sleep, your body is in full relax and recharge mode. Your heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing rates are all at their lowest. Human growth hormone is produced in the highest amounts during this phase of sleep, which drives cellular repair and growth. So if you're doing any form of resistance training, during this phase of sleep, your muscles repair and grow to their greatest extent. And getting adequate deep sleep is also important for the optimum functioning of our immune systems. And I'm not going to go into the science of why this happens in this video, but if you've ever wondered why you're more likely to get sick if you're sleep deprived, it's probably because you're not getting enough of this deep sleep. Deep sleep also plays a role in the consolidation of memories, but in a different way from the final type of sleep that I want to talk about today, which is, of course, REM sleep. It's one of the most studied and one of the most interesting areas of sleep, and it's so named because eyes move rapidly in various directions under the eyelids. It's probably best known for its role in dreaming. We can dream in other phases of sleep, but our most vivid, elaborate, and bizarre dreams happen during REM sleep. But REM sleep is about much more than just dreaming. Have you ever heard the phrase, "it will all seem better after a good night's sleep"? That's because REM sleep is an important time for emotional processing. I like to think of REM sleep as free, overnight therapy that helps us resolve emotional tensions and traumas that we all accumulate as part of our day-to-day lives. Flipping things around, it's easy to see why people who suffer from insomnia frequently suffer from anxiety and depression. REM sleep is also a time when your brain is restructuring and consolidating memories. This can lead to new insights and problem solving, as well as creative thoughts. And much like the human growth hormone surges in deep sleep, most testosterone is produced in REM sleep. So those are the 4 key phases of sleep. I like to think of them as light sleep, non-REM 1 and 2, and restorative sleep, which is deep and REM sleep. And it was a sudden, unexpected jump in my restorative sleep on my Whoop app that first made me realize that I'd done something that had led to my sleep quality improving significantly. And this realization came about because I was having difficulty consistently taking a magnesium supplement. Normally I'd find it pretty easy to take a supplement first thing in the morning. I'd just stack that habit on top of another habit that I do every single morning without fail: drink coffee. But the problem is I can't do that with magnesium supplements. If I take magnesium supplements on an empty stomach, I vomit, like proper projectile vomiting. And it was always my aim to take it with my first meal of the day, which I often have around lunchtime. But I kept forgetting to take the magnesium, so I started to take it in the evening, a couple of hours before going to bed. The first time I did this, the next morning I'd had way over 4 hours of restorative sleep. I'd never had anywhere near that amount before. I'd normally only have about 3.5 hours at the most, and I felt great. But a one night thing can be a fluke, so I decided to do my own experiment and keep this going for a month, where I recorded a 15% increase in my restorative sleep. That works out as an extra approximately 31 minutes a night, or 3.5 hours a week, or 15 hours over the whole month, which is basically an extra 2 nights of restorative sleep over the month. Now, there are good and bad magnesium supplements, but I'll talk about specific doses and formulations that I suggest later. But first, why should magnesium make such a difference in sleep quality? Magnesium plays an important role in our biochemical processes, over 300 of them in fact. It's important for energy production, DNA synthesis, and has a role in muscle relaxation, nerve function, stress reduction, amongst many other things. But in terms of important minerals, it doesn't get talked about that much, despite being so important for human health. We talk about sodium and potassium quite a lot, but not so much about magnesium. And there've long been concerns about magnesium deficiency in modern diets, in particular due to soil depletion. Intensive modern agricultural practices strip the soil of magnesium quicker than it can be replenished. And the fertilizers we use are focused on giving plants extra nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, because those are what help the plants grow, but don't replenish the other important stuff like magnesium that gives the crops their nutritional value. And of course, we'd all like to get all of our magnesium from food if we could, but there's a compelling argument as to why that might not be possible and why we should supplement with magnesium. So what is it about magnesium that actually helps with sleep? But there are 2 ways that we think magnesium contributes to improving sleep quality. The first is by helping the production of a calming chemical called GABA. GABA is a chemical messenger found in the brain, which can be thought of as a chill out chemical. Its main job is to block certain brain signals, decreasing the activity of our nerves. Think of it like a brake on our brain activity, ensuring things don't run too fast and out of control. This calming effect makes it important for relaxation. Except there's a problem. There's a certain type of receptor in our brain called NMDA receptors. The name's not really important as long as you don't confuse it with MDMA, which is more commonly known as ecstasy. NMDA receptors can act against GABA and reduce its calming effect. Magnesium can reduce the action of these NMDA receptors. Put simply, magnesium helps GABA do its job without interference, so you can relax more easily and sleep more deeply. Magnesium also plays a role in your body's daily cycles, as magnesium levels in our cells fluctuate with our circadian rhythms. Typically, magnesium is at its highest during nighttime when you're resting, and at its lowest during daytime when you're active. And it's far from well established why this helps with sleep, but when magnesium levels rise at night, it might help your body prepare for a good night's sleep. Therefore, supplementing with magnesium in the evening may support this natural rhythm. And the role of magnesium in sleep has been studied to a certain extent, but not in huge detail, and this tends to be the way of things when there isn't much money to be made. Magnesium supplements are pretty cheap and no one owns a patent on them, so no one stands to make enough money from them to actually spend a lot researching them. Additionally, there does seem to be a significant variability in the response to magnesium supplementation between individuals. So I make no promises that this will work for you in the same way that it did for me, but it might even work better. If you want to know if it works for you, you need to run your own tests. And there are basically 3 types of magnesium supplements that are available. Magnesium Glycinate, this is often my go-to recommendation because of its superior absorption rate. Magnesium citrate is also a good choice. It's also well absorbed. The one to avoid is magnesium oxide. Even though it's the most affordable option, its absorption rate is pretty poor. Just remember to check the packet for the correct dose, as it varies between the different types. For those curious about which products to go for, I'll add links in the description down below this video to some of the magnesium supplements I recommend, including the ones that I use myself. And as for the timing, I found that taking magnesium around 2 hours before going to bed works really well for me. Again, this is something that you might like to test for yourself. Usual disclaimer, this video isn't personalized medical advice, so make sure you read the label, and if you've got any concerns, please talk with your doctor. So the role of magnesium in improving sleep quality is important, but it's still only one aspect of optimizing sleep. And my journey to achieve the perfect night's sleep is far from over. One important question I'm hoping to answer soon in relation to today's video is that if you're consistently getting really high quality sleep, do you need less sleep overall? If you don't want to miss that or any of the other videos I've got in the pipeline about optimizing sleep, make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss those when they're released. And if you found this video helpful, a thumbs up would mean a lot to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.